It's not on the list.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ticket. Come on, y'all. Let's take a ride. Don't you say nothing. Just get inside the taxi cab. It's time to take your couch, hug and tail on another kind of trip. Cause you can't have the hop if you don't have the hip. Close your eyes and hit the switch. We're going to a place where everybody kick it, kick it, kick it, kick it. Yeah, that's the ticket. Going to the Philippines. In the airport, here we come. In the airport, here we come. Foreigners everywhere. One old man is living there. Ooh. Put something in the tank, and I know that I can bring you. If you can't take the heat, get your tail out the kitchen. We on a mission. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Slide, slide, slippity slide. I'm hitting switches on the block in the 85. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Ain't no valley low enough or mountain high. I'm trying to find a place where I can live my life. And I'm leaving my place where we eat some steak with my beans and rice. Going to a place where kids can play outside. Beautiful women everywhere. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Slide, slide, slippity slide. I'm hitting switches on the block in the 85. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. You better make a left off the plane. There's that old American living over there like that movie Terminal. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Slide, slide, slippity slide. I do what I do just to survive. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Just roll along. That's what you do. Just roll along. That's right. Just roll along. That's what you do. Just roll along. That's right. To the hood of funk. To the hood of funk. To the hood of funk.
Good morning. Good
You wanna
morning.
do
Oh, yes, please.
it? Which one?
The first one's okay. And here, the color is orange.
Oh,
Right. You never did get up and get that. So on top of that, before we started the live, you still didn't. So
well, it's
that's
really
a no
close
on
to
that.
it. It's saying. I mean, look,
Yeah.
see?
And
mean,
you
I
just
mean,
noticed that, or was that
no.
last minute?
I'm saying it still kind of matches it.
No,
There's slight variety.
I asked about that before the live, and somehow you still managed to get up during the live.
So,
Because that's been a thing for me the last few times.
okay.
Here. Okay, so all right, guys. So what we're going to do is we have a topic here we want to talk about. It kind of went around for a little bit. Somebody mentioned it to us. Do you know how long ago that was? About a week? About that. They mentioned that, did we know about an old guy that was living in the airport? And then that might have been, I believe that was Tony that might have said that. Tony Manning might have mentioned it. So what's going on is we decided to look into it, but it was because last night there was an article put out that the guy left. Okay. And the story goes that basically there's an old guy that's been living in a terminal and then he left. He didn't go back to the US though. He went back to Bangkok. to Thailand or something, which kind of blew my mind because the U.S. Embassy got involved and supposedly he was broke. He said and made a statement that living in hotels are too expensive, and it looks like his plans fell through. So that's what today's discussion will be, and we'll kind of go through that. And it was just an odd situation. So we received some messages also from people that said there's some other situations going on with the guy. Could be that he's, I don't know. There's a lot that I want to say about it, but I'm kind of holding on to. But basically, if that would have been a Filipino in the airport, they'd have got rid of him a long time ago. This is definitely about being a foreigner and then giving leeway for foreigners. Not all foreigners, it depends on who you are, but I guess because he's an older American, that they allowed it to happen because he stayed in the airport for 3 weeks. 3 freaking weeks. All right, so this is where they actually did the article. And do you guys remember that movie, The Terminal? Basically, he's being referred to being like that because the guy lived in there. Like he was sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the benches. Filipinos were feeding him, other expats were giving him things. And not quite the same, but it has brought this up in conversation through the newspapers, other expats, and everything else. And basically, he did officially leave, I believe, yesterday or the day before. Basically, he was living in Terminal 3 since the 31st. For the last couple weeks, he actually lived in there. He claimed that he had told the airport security and he told when he entered immigration that he was here to go out to the province. Well, we've received messages that people said he was on his way to see a girl and the plans fell through. Word on the street allegedly that he had gotten scammed, and that's why he didn't have any money. But then he told the airport security and all that he got robbed while he was there. Then he was telling people that hotels are too expensive in the Philippines. Well, you can get even versus crapping your pants and sleeping on a chair, there's still $10 and $20 hotels, right?
Yeah, but obviously you can't afford it.
Right. So he said that, okay, so he said, yeah, but somehow he got out of there to Bangkok because he evidently had, unless he had a round trip ticket and it was planned, but the embassy didn't have him go back to the US. So evidently he has problems because he was like defecating in his pants, everything
they're
else.
not even $20. Average $20.
Okay. So he did not overstay. The embassy did get involved. And of course, the airport got involved when he was smelling to high hell and that he was all nasty. And they said they had medical get involved. So this guy is from Texas, is what else I had found out. And he's been living on handouts. But the deal on this for me is that again this would have never happened with this would have never happened if it had been a Filipino or um, anybody else. He just got privilege. Now I'd like to say it's white privilege in my opinion. On top of it, other British people might say it's because he's American that they allowed him to do it. Because it's hard to say, if they came from somewhere else, if they would have let him do that. But it just blows my mind that they would let him do that. What do you think?
No, definitely not.
That's it.
Yeah, no. I think no, it definitely no. Especially
Did I take one of these yet?
no. That's Naiya, Aquino International Airport, which means I can see them doing it in Clark, only because one, Clark's smaller and it's more what do you call that? Personalized, that kind of deal, or rather, and honestly, people are nicer here. I know that Angeles City is a city, but technically it's provincial. Um, it's one of those things that you have to be here to know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Ninoy Aquino International Airport is a major hub in the Philippines. Meaning, no, this is a serious airport. This is like the JFK of Philippines. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, it's a big
yeah,
airport
no,
at the
and
same time, but it's not. I don't know if it's not like the biggest airport. What's the listing on size of that? The whole point is the old dude didn't
no, no, no,
hide
no, no.
out. Everybody knew he was
I
there.
said of the Philippines.
Right, but he wasn't hiding out. I mean,
I
they
know
knew he
that.
was there. They allowed it to
No,
happen.
they allowed him because he is a foreign national.
Do you think it had
Yes.
anything to do with him being an American? Honestly,
No, I think
none at all.
it's because he's a foreign national. I don't think it's you know.
Let me know what you guys think. If you actually think it had anything to do with him being an American, I
Well,
think it does personally. I think it
you have to
does, which I don't think's
remember,
right.
for the
That's what I'm
most
trying to
part,
say.
most Filipinos can't distinguish. I said most. I didn't say all. Most Filipinos can't distinguish the difference between one Caucasian race to another.
Yeah, but at some point they knew about it and they left him alone. They said they left him alone.
No, I'm
So
aware.
that means they had to ask him and they knew he was an American in the beginning. So they knew when he got
I
checked
know
in.
that, but like I said, I don't think that's anything to do with it.
Okay. So
I think because he's a foreign national.
hmm. Are you reading things?
Yes. Scott says he's transnational. There you go.
Come to see a girlfriend. That's what's going on. She either didn't come to the airport. I know there was a girl involved. We know that he was heading out to the province, and him trying to save money. I just think that he gave all of his money away, and he could have just been. How long did they let you stay in Thailand? By the way, isn't there visa runs over there too? Maybe it was his time to leave and
no, they still have
come to
visa
visit.
runs. Yes.
It's hard saying if it was a visa run for him, if he was supposed to stay with her the whole time, and but to say that the hotels or it was too expensive to have hotels when he's on the road, he's a traveler. That's kind of crazy. And here's the thing: he's a 76-year-old guy. He wasn't going out there to meet no 50-year-old woman. He wasn't going out there to meet no 60-year-old girl. He went out there to go see some young punani. That's where that was out, and he got caught. And then he's going to hang up in the airport and crap himself. I hate to say it, he's too old to be traveling like that.
There's nothing wrong with somebody who wants loose kitties.
Mm,
Um, Again, he is of, I believe, of that age. If that makes any sense. Earn Doggy Fool says they have toilets at the airport. Was up, old fart? Right. I believe it's not that what it is.
hey,
It's
Sarah.
he just, what's that word you use?
Banana?
No,
Oh.
no, no, no. Like he can't control his bowels anymore. He's at that age kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's just where it is. This is my deal. You're going to have different levels. And I was thinking about this. When I see videos of people at the airports and been at the airports, especially here in the Philippines, you're going to see a lot of younger people coming in now, guys in their 30s, 40s, 20s, maybe even 50. But at some point, your asses need to sit down, all of us, and stop traveling everywhere around like you're 20. You guys try to keep up with these young Filipinos, and this is just me being honest, and you guys really can't. And these guys are in their mid 60s, mid 70s, and even some are in their 80s, still traveling around talking about, I still got it. And good for you. But you guys are in pure denial about your medical conditions. After a certain age, you have leakage everywhere, man. A sneeze can't be trusted. You're gonna crap your pants. Things happen. You eat stuff, it runs through you. You're no longer that person. You're actually reverting back to being a child. Some people have memory issues over a certain age, and that's probably quite a few these days. Have some sort of so the guy evidently walked around with crap pants, but come up here to get him a girlfriend? Come on, pull yourself together and sit down somewhere. Find your retirement.
Well, know your
And
limits.
but they don't care. I guess their heads were all in the same goddamn bag.
Well, they're thinking of the wrong head, as I always say.
Looks like it all
Yeah.
mixed up with a shit
Like
bag.
Ted says, like I can't at my age now. You laugh your face. Also Earned Doggy Full says he was right flying to Bangkok. Must have flown cargo. There you
Oh
go.
my god, must have flown cargo.
Now this is true. When you're older, younger not so much, but when you're older, never trust a fart. Yeah, I mean, no, really, never.
Yeah, it's kind of where it. I can't say enough that most of the guys coming through here are just coming on vacation. You get the young couples, there's Western women here that come and visit. Some stay a short period of time. Um, I just keep thinking about the levels and different types of people, different countries, nationalities, all these things of people that are coming in. And then you have a guy like this that came in and he got scammed from get go, sitting up in another Asian country. Now, which brings me around to the people that make full plans like I did. I've sold everything. I have no intention to go back to the US, and he's burned those bridges. But some guys do watch other channels and get the ideal to just burn bridges and travel all the time, like live out of your backpack type of life. And there's a lot of guys that do that. But you're not Justin Backpack or one of these other, I don't know, is his name Dustin or Justin? I will call him Gustin or something, but you're not that backpacking geo butt plug toy boy that can just hit too much. That could just hit the
Too
road
soon.
too soon. That, can just hit it, man, and hit it all the time. You got scammed, dude. I'm going to tell you the nitty gritty down to the ritty titty, man. It's just what
Well,
what happened.
okay,
The man
now
got taken, and then he's going to take a dump in his pants and walk around the airport. And I'm sorry, he got some sort of white old age. He got a white old age American privilege situation going on, card going on.
no. I'd hate to say this, but I agree because here's the thing, guys.
He's put his crap together, literally.
Well, he got lucky. A lot of you will agree with me. He got lucky. What I mean by that is, first off, when you're at that age, and again, I'm not picking on the guy. I'm really not. But what I'm saying is, when you're at an age where you can't, like, clean yourself out, you're if you can't do that,
or eat it out.
that's like a big red flag to everybody that you can't take care of yourself. You know what that means? You're a target. They can literally kidnap this guy, stick him in a like warehouse somewhere, take his debit card, and then just go at it. I mean, they can basically torture the guy and stuff and get his information, use his debit
He
card.
might been a blessing that all happened to him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He got lucky. It could have been worse. Worse things could have happened to him.
Yeah, it could have been that.
Yeah, worse things have happened to
He could have
older
fell down
people.
that escalator. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Just like me, I had that slip and fall a few months ago, dislocated my arm. It's still a mess. I'm still getting injections. This shit hurts. And I'm in my early 50s, guys. And I couldn't imagine being 20, 24 years older, 23 years older, and then something like this happened. I just can't imagine doing. Matter of fact, I don't even want to think about doing a whole lot of traveling beyond the next couple years. If we're going to go to other Asian countries like we've planned, we're going to have to do it in the next year or two. There's no way I'm going to attempt things. Good for the people that try. What you don't see on social media, where everybody makes it look so smooth, is that shit happens. Things are happening. And I'm about ready to say when things happen, I want to thank Paul, Old Dog New Tricks, because his channel, like the Filipino P, they kind of run the same type of channel where they have they put out this content and it's to help people come here. But I get that they put out some bad stuff too, but their own personal life isn't in there. And it's in there, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's kind of not. But Paul just released a video and you haven't seen it. I have, and some of you guys might have, where Paul was saying that a lot of things have been happening. So basically, he's at a everything that he said, I'm like, yep, I hear you, man. Like he went to go do recordings and there was noise outside situation. He's been trying to get title work done and all this stuff. Takes forever. Took forever for baby May. I believe it was her tax paperwork or some stuff. Whatever it is, everything is starting to wear on him and he's telling us more of his personal life. And I'm like, yes, I said the real life that's here, a bunch of bureaucratic paperwork and all these other side things that we're not used to in our foreign countries, or it's things that start to wear on you. And if you add age to it, it's a problem. So what I'm saying is that the guys that are flying over here do not know all of these things until these things happen. And then long term, a lot of people can't even deal with it. And so this guy in this instance, in my opinion, being he came from, it doesn't mean always, just my personal opinion. If he's heading out the province to see somebody and he came from Thailand, more than likely he's about that life. And we already said it, sex tourism. And so more than likely he was just here trying to get him some and got caught. It wasn't like he came here to get an apartment and he was just here for the first time trying to retire and innocently ended up in the airport. No, he literally got caught with his pants down and somebody had to clean him up. That's well, maybe he's got him, maybe he's got like I don't know. Maybe he's not going to remember it. He may wake up in Thailand tomorrow and not even know he was living in the airport for 3 weeks. Could you imagine going through the newspaper and say, "Wow, is that me?" And having dementia? It's possible.
Possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very well possible. So, yeah, so no, Paul, I appreciate that video that came out from Paul recently. So, yeah, most definitely.
Bobby G says they never let me pass the door without showing a ticket. I'm a foreigner.
Mm. Well, he came in, and as I'm to understand, I don't think he ever. No, wait a minute.
It's possible he had one, not necessarily that day.
Oh, yeah. He probably showed it and they let him in and didn't really check the dates
Yeah,
or something.
they didn't probably inspect it.
Or he never left the airport and she never came and picked him up. He might have been standing there but didn't leave
That's
the
also
airport.
possible.
Yeah, word is he got, but kind of hard saying, you know.
Yeah, if your girl never shows up at the airport to pick you up, you're probably never been real.
You're not real.
Yeah.
Pull us in. Ew, what was that? Sorry.
Yeah, Earn Doggy Pool says she probably met him at the airport and did an exit stage left after noticing the Hershey stains. Whoa. Whoa. Scott says
Not me, brother. I take that Hershey stains and I add it to the next pile of ice cream.
Jesus. Dude wipes are a must at that stage. Angelo says money talks, chicks walk. There you go. Probably closer to the truth than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Ian says, "Good morning from Puerto Princesa."
What is going
Earn
on?
Doggy Fool kept his debit card and his Fruit of the Looms. Good luck swiping that.
Can you picture that?
That's a different kind of security there.
Hold
just
up.
saying.
Can you picture that or can you smell that swipe?
Right? Dang.
Too bad they don't have
Says,
smell-o-vision.
poor dude just wanted a little stink finger before he passes.
Chosen
Wow.
one. I guess this is the time now, being chosen one is in the house to do the Hershey challenge. Okay.
What is the Hershey challenge?
To send sticker money, that's all.
Oh.
We'll call you guys Hershey Boy and do big shout outs for you guys.
Earn Doggy Fool says he came from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Wow.
From Texas.
That's good. I like that one. That's really good.
But if you guys aren't subscribed, Hershey Boys, be sure to subscribe, Hershey Boys, and like, subscribe, share.
Yeah, hit like, subscribe. Always makes Heidi happy, and to sure send support. Grab your partner's cell phone
would be nice.
and change their language to Chinese.
Is that all you got?
What?
Does he have his own YouTube channel. No.
Where's that at? Oh, it's on the bottom. Clean up in Terminal 3. There you go. Well, anyone who's ever traveled should have common sense to know. So go anywhere. If you cannot take care of yourself, period, don't rely on others. No, if you can't take care, that's the point. If you can't take care of yourself, you shouldn't be going anywhere, period.
And it makes me, that's something that I was really thinking about was, again, if you look at the crowd, I don't know if we
Yeah,
can
and if you do, you better have
mute.
somebody to take
Yeah,
care of
mute
you.
that. Can we mute that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh no, sorry, this one, because it shows the, I think it shows the crowd
Of
on
the
there.
airport.
Yeah, go ahead and put that back
So I'm
up.
gonna have to rewind it. It's on the start.
Well, I think it's midway in the intro. Okay. So this is actually Terminal 3. They're at the airport. They'll show it here in a minute, Terminal 3. But when I was looking at the crowds,
There it is.
there's a lot of, I mean,
No, it's a
there
major
were
airport.
Westerners, and yeah, and they're not all older like people think. Like, even in my vision, okay, it was a real quick one. Even in my vision before I got here, I really thought that's what I was walking into, was girls waiting to make George offers on the street and the grocery store. Say, hey, would you like a massage? And, and a lot of older expats. I really did not expect even so many. Now, post pandemic, when people start coming through, I start seeing a lot more young people. In the beginning, I think it was, I'm mostly just seeing the older people, the malls and
Yeah.
out and about, the grocery stores. But it looks like, being I don't live in Manila or go to the Manila airport, and I haven't been to Siargao or any of these islands where the younger people hang out and party, then I haven't seen them. But I guess a lot of them travel through Manila, of course, when they're leaving. And I've seen a lot of them. And so it made me really stop to think that, there's really, really a lot of different types that arrive here in the Philippines, but the ones that are coming here for retirement, I just can't get over that a 76-year-old, and that's how old my grandmother was. Well, actually, my grandmother was 86 when she passed away. 85. I could be off on her age a little bit, 84. But I couldn't imagine being within a few years like that and being out and about traveling when people have all kinds of health issues. He had to have health issues, but I guess your mind, is still thinking like me, like I'm like a 12-year-old all the time. Like, I like to watch cartoons and watch certain movies, and I've been on the watching Little House on the Prairie again, and I like the board games and like doing silly things and having ice cream for dinner and all that. But there's a limit when you start traveling to
Yeah.
Southeast Asia.
Now, there's an interesting statement that a serviceman that I talked to recently told me. He says, the foreigners that come to the Philippines that get shocked are the ones that usually live in metropolitan city areas. The ones that lived in the provinces well, obviously he's American, but he says, well, most of the Americans that are from, that lived in the country, when they move to the Philippines, the transition is easier because it's relatable. But the ones that come from the cities are the
Culture
one that
shock.
go into culture shock because
I'm still in culture shock.
it's a it's a stark contrast, that kind of deal. Now, as far as Heidi's saying that there's this weird, you have expectations whether they're realistic or not. The vision that Heidi is talking about, for those of you who don't understand, is when me and Heidi arrived, when we booked the place in Candy Palace, in her mind it'd be hookers walking up and down the aisles of in the hallways of Candy Palace, you know, prefaces,
Yeah, because
proposing and
everybody
everything.
has visions.
Yeah,
and
they have
stuff,
visions, and
because it doesn't matter. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, she's just being over the top." But I guarantee every last one of these expats that arrive here have a total
well,
different
they
vision.
have their own version of a vision of what they think the
Because
Philippines is.
yeah, because
no.
the next live that we'll be covering is definitely going to be about Dexel and Jim. I wasn't willing to cover them before, but looks like he returned back. And that's a whole hot mess, a problem with the family out in the province. He's got charges on him. His kid was beat up, and I'm definitely going to cover this one. That's drama I cannot pass up. And so he was talking about Angeles City, right? And I thought I had weird ideals, but I'd never lived there. And after living here, I know different. Angeles City is just a small, it's small, but it's not just walking street. So he says, he goes, "Oh, I couldn't live in Angel City." He goes, "I'm going to go live in Clark." And I'm like, "Dude, that is Angel City." So it was weird. He says, he goes, "Because I can't live on walking street." And I'm like, it's like,
Well,
it's not all one.
It's just two streets. It's really nothing.
Right. So, but when you watch videos and you read things and you read articles, it does seem to be like that, unless you
No,
actually.
and honestly, again,
experience
most
it.
Filipinos don't even know what Walking Street is or Red Street. They have no clue what it is.
No, it's
No,
more.
they don't. It's that insignificant. But and oh well, Angelus wouldn't survive without Walking Street. What? Since when?
Oh, we hear
But
that all the time.
yeah, no,
that the whole
it's.
city
I
would
mean, obviously,
collapse.
they don't know how economics work. But anyway,
Clark is huge.
now back to expectations. Be aware that it's kind of like what is that? A self promoting self. It's a bad image, and what I'm saying is, Walking Street is a bar sexpat area. Now, what I'm getting at is, be aware that if you frequent that area, you can be labeled as such. Not necessarily you are.
Or an old guy walking around with dookie in his pants that got dumped by a province girl, and he was broke, which means he probably sent that money in advance.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you probably aren't. But if you do frequent that area, of course they're gonna call you a sexpat and stuff like that, whether you are or not, or at least a bar guy. Now, for example,
At least own
am
it,
I a
man.
bar guy? Yeah, I hate to say this. I would say I'm a bar guy because I do frequent bars, but I don't go to Walking Street. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I've been on Walking Street. I've been to bars down there. So the whole point is
but be aware. But you're a woman. You don't. I hate to say this. You don't count.
dude.
I mean, I highly doubt.
What do you mean I don't count?
I highly doubt that the
What do you
the
what-
walkers will
Hey.
propose to you. I mean, I've been proposed several times with the walker.
How do you know?
I just said it. I've been proposed several times with the walkers. Why do you think I know the rates?
Because you're
Point being is, if you're a
not
guy,
today, devil, not today.
If you're a guy and you go up and down in Walking Street, you will get, hey, want to have a good
They
time.
do it to the girls too.
Well, possible, yes, it's
Thank you.
possible.
I like a lady boy here and there.
Anyway, but
Double your pleasure.
Point being, again, I'm not saying that you are or you
Smells
aren't,
like-
but if you do forget
smells
that
like
area,
fish.
you'll be pegged as a sex pat.
No, smells like fish.
Smells like fish.
You got caught up on the lady boy thing, right? You had to think about
No, that smells like cheese. Smells like cheese.
not if they've been fixed.
Gouda.
George, not if they've been fixed. You're gonna have to mute if I tell you that one. Here, I got.
No, don't.
Yep.
It's really not.
Yeah. So exactly. So it could.
I highly
By the
doubt
way,
it, though.
I'm all itchy because, by the way, I cleaned the other mic covers and not these, and here I am all itchy. That's what I was looking for earlier, was my alcohol to spray on here. We bought a bunch of covers and we haven't used them all or cleaned them, and there's got to be something on here I'm allergic to. And I probably shouldn't do this either.
Sammy Salem says, from my own experience, living in the Philippines is really frustrating. Sometimes the bureaucracy where nothing can be done, the power out and water out inflation and lack of infrastructure, not for me. Mm, no, I get it. I get
For a
it.
lot of people, it's not. And honestly, if it wasn't for George's family here, if it wasn't for it was his country and we were both foreigners, we would have stayed in Mexico. So we both liked Mexico for the most part. And the cost for us at the time, it's now doubled as far as what things cost. And I would go to Vietnam if we would, both weren't um, foreigners there. So, but the biggest bonus for me is the friendly people. Most people are friendly and they try to help. And the other part is the English. Now there's an English barrier sometimes, but I think more of the English barrier is the shy barrier. Every time I go to talk to somebody, one, I'm a little overwhelming to begin with. Plus, I'm almost 6 foot tall. Plus, I'm really plus size. So basically, it's like Andre the Giant in the street. So, and then with me being an American female, I think there just becomes a shyness all of a sudden. And other expats have experienced where Filipinos or other like officials, like whether it's police or at immigration, it seems like they kind of pull back in talking as much, or they just don't say a whole lot.
Well, it's not necessarily shyness. It's kind of like they look at you at a higher esteem,
Hmm.
and it's not necessarily a language barrier. For example, this kid I had to deal with this morning,
Oh boy.
he refused to talk, not because he doesn't understand me, because he did. He speaks Tagalog, and I speak Tagalog, and he didn't want to talk. It's because he looked at me at a higher esteem, if that makes any sense. So, as Heidi says, he's shy. So, not necessarily a language barrier. Just things you have to deal with. Bobby G says exactly.
We got the trash taken care of temporarily.
Have a friend go with you so you don't get stranded like it's like that. It's sad. I bet he's never even went outside. I wonder if he thought she came in to meet him, but Terminal 3, you meet across the road, I think.
He came
No.
from.
You do have to get out. Yeah, I mean, she can't get in.
Well, here's the thing. I just thought about this and then I jumped back to saying no. He came from Thailand because he must have had a round trip ticket that was a month out or something
Yeah,
because he was there for several
he has
weeks.
an out ticket. Yeah.
And so he didn't come from the US because I guess is there a layover in Thailand
Well,
on some of the trips? I don't know. But either
well, it
way,
depends. Yeah, it depends on the trip. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god.
My grandpa, are we talking about the British expat in diapers that was in Q? No. This is a completely
No.
different expat. How do you give Black Grandpa the quick lowdown?
Yeah, let me go ahead and put this up again. We'll put this up
Yeah, for
one more
those of you
time.
who missed it earlier, we're just gonna do a real quick summary.
All right, so yeah, you might want to pause. There was an American guy that was living in Terminal 3 and he was in the newspapers. And then as of yesterday or the day before, it said that he officially has left. And they said that he wasn't an overstay. It's a 76-year-old man from Texas, been living there for a couple weeks. He told officials, and we had received some messages that he was here to see a girl and that she was living out in the province, and something went wrong. And so he's saying that he got robbed. I don't think he got robbed in the airport and then went broke, because he also told somebody else and told the newspapers had it that he thought that hotels were too expensive, which was an odd statement, and that he was just going to stay in the airport. Well, on the side note, I want to let you know that there are Americans and other people living in American airports. It's happening more and more now with the homeless populations. More and more people are doing it. So it's not an unheard of anymore. This is not unusual, but for the Philippines, it is, because they're quick to rush people out. They won't allow Filipinos to do it. So somehow they allowed the American guy. He wasn't an overstayer. He came in from Bangkok, and that's where he left. The U.S. Embassy got involved. The guy was found where he had defecated his pants, and they took him to medical and had him cleaned up. People were feeding him. He was sleeping on the floor. He was sleeping on benches. People were trying to help him. But as you see, he's got nothing but a backpack. That means he got off the airplane. So he is a backpacking guy. I just thought about that one. So He's 76 years old, and I was talking earlier that he really needs to go somewhere. So returning back to Thailand, I'm assuming he's living that life. Like I bet, who knows? But what bothers me is when you think about all the guys. I'm not saying that he is, but think about all the older men that come here for the younger women and men, that I'm wondering if something fell through and he sent him a bunch of money, or I don't know what would push a guy of that age to just sleep in an airport like that. It's maybe the
Uh,
girl come to see him and then left him there at the airport. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Kitty's a very strong motivating factor. Just saying.
No, not really. Evidently not for you. I offered you bacon this morning.
Since when?
I got ham.
I saw the ham, but the ham isn't bacon.
Yes, it is.
No, no, I saw the ham. She was defrosting ham, the good stuff. But
The good stuff.
it's still not bacon.
Came with a nice little piggy bag. I'm gonna use it for the market.
No,
This
it's
little piggy
weird.
went.
Whenever you buy a good ham in the Philippines, they give you a nice bag. It's kind of weird,
So you
right?
can go to the market.
They do it all the time. It's kind of weird.
Put this little piggy in the bag, and then this little piggy went to the market. I guess
That's how you know you bought good ham. If your ham comes with a bag, I mean it's not a bag. It's a shopping bag. But point is, if you buy ham,
good
it
thing.
comes with a bag. It's good ham.
Good thing I eat a lot of meat now.
Jeez.
I was eating meat this morning, and then George said, "Where's my bacon?"
Right. Sky Nice's World says the restaurant and entertainment district is a nice family place.
He's talking about the new Red Street.
There you
Welcome to the Red Street. That's where we fix the sidewalks, throw up a few signs, a few of our bars here get a few bigger investors, and it turns into little. Why didn't they just call it Little Red Korean Street or something, or Korean Red or
go.
something?
Well,
Or
now
Red
it is.
Korean.
Before it wasn't.
No, not as much. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. People disagree and they say the prices have gone up and all this. There's a level. I mean, if I can't even afford even where I'm at now, which I feel that, in a few years we're just going to go move over to Clark itself is where I really want to go, then we probably shouldn't be here. If we can't afford where they say prices are going up and this and that, then we probably shouldn't be here situation. But then again, I also, on the other hand, kind of bipolar on that. I don't feel we should be overcharged either. So, but if your ass is going to be down there looking for some kitty and you're down there trying to do all these things and get a sneaky peek, it's like any club. You got to pay,
Oh.
you're paying to play. I don't want to be overcharged for my trash to be picked up crap, but I don't mind giving tips and this and that for, for decent service. I don't mind bringing over 3 people to do the in-house massages and all of that, and then giving nice tips. Oh, sorry, did I go too far?
No.
Did you sleep in too long?
No. Well, no. Now
No, he joined.
that's the thing again for those of you who missed it, the problem we have again is that the gentleman went again, Aquino International Airport, and when he crapped his pants, it wasn't an accident. That's the point. He just can't clean up himself. Period. And he didn't. He didn't.
Or he didn't know. If he's in the stages, he could have been in stages of dementia for years.
Correct.
Which is really scary. I watched a bunch of videos about furthering dementia because it runs in my family really bad, which I've been thinking about that lately. But it was a whole site that just shows these videos. And it can get really bad. Like this guy was walking through the kitchen. Let me give you an example. He was walking through the kitchen and he goes, "Well, if I don't have a car anymore," he goes, "When did I not have a car? I don't own a car no more." Because he's talking about he wanted to go somewhere, and the woman was like, "Dad, you don't own a car anymore." He goes, "Well, I can't do this if I don't have a car anymore, and it took me forever to get a car." And blah blah. "Dad, we sold your car 3 years ago." "I thought I had a car." So he literally thought he was getting ready to get into a car, and he goes, "Well, Christ's sake, the next thing you're going to tell me is I don't even own this house anymore." And she said, "Dad, you're living with us and you have been for years. You sold your house 3 years ago." Could you imagine this every day when you wake up? You don't even know where you're at. It could be the same for this guy. So he's sitting here, imagine sitting here watching a YouTube channel from Ace Bachelor Cool. And you're sitting here watching him, and he's talking about he does this and he gets this steak dinner and whatever, and the girls are beautiful and you can live on this budget. That old dude could have just punched up a ticket and that's it. He took off. And if you're living in the moment, that's scary. And there's nobody to stop that. I believe there's a lot of senile old men here. Not women, guys, by the way. Women don't lose their minds.
What?
So, but think about it. These are deep realities. When we talk about funeral plans, planning for your future, planning for insurance the best you can, and all of that, people don't want to think about those deep thoughts. But this could have happened to this old guy. Maybe he isn't here for sex tourism or came from Thailand. He could have just got on a plane 2 months ago and been just traveling around, and he doesn't even know where he is. Wakes up every day. And there are people that are down to that. They wake up every day and their memory resets. It's like that was it Blind Date, or what's the one with Adam Sandler and what's her name, where every day they relive 50 dates. Yeah.
51st dates.
Same thing every day. He gets 24 hours, and
Drew
it's
Barrymore,
true.
yeah.
And my uncle's
Great
been
movie.
dealing with that for a long time. And my grandfather, and it's pretty scary. And one of the issues that I have was brain damage a long time ago, and I'm really concerned that it could happen. But George is nice and prepared for that, and he's got little notes and videos, and we're going to do the same thing as 50 dates. We're going to relive our first date over and over again.
Well,
Just take me bowling every day.
Well, notebook.
Huh?
Nope.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He read the diary, the journal every day to his wife. That way, for just one split second, she would come back.
Yeah. So yeah, same thing, but it's scary because there are a lot of guys here that are older, and that, it's got to be. So when you have dementia, all these other issues come along with the dementia, and that would include that. And
Well,
then
yeah, and you can't stop them because
you revert back to being a baby. Babies poop their pants, and he's just going to walk around in it because he's not going to think about that. He don't even remember an hour or two before that. He's just, he's living in the minute. That's crazy, and that's sad at the same time.
yeah, assuming that's what's going on. Bobby G says, "Hell, Angel City is known for some of the best food places. I heard about the food there before
Yes, of course.
the walkers. Yes, of course.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
it
knew
is,
that.
and it's really weird. The way I see it is the ones that rag on Angel City about being a walking street place are the ones that go to walking street because only they can see it that way. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
I mean, until we got a car and I got more and more at Clark and seeing like Clark City, like where we've been going here lately, I'm seeing a whole different side of Angeles. Like we're in Mavalacat right now. We're like less than 2 miles from Walking Street. We're 2 miles from the airport. We're a couple miles to the hospital where we go to Clark and everything. And it's kind of sweet. We're like, and we're not paying high prices, but eventually we want to get a condo over there or go over there and get something more silent, or we're going to go polar opposite and go get some sort of farm to have chickens and more animals. So it's one dream or the other, but
You can have chickens here.
probably I'm about ready.
Someone has chickens here everywhere.
I'm going to gather those suckers up and throw your dog
No,
outside.
that's irresponsible. That's irresponsible. You're not supposed to do that.
What they're doing now.
Yeah, because technically, if those chickens are like that, anybody can snatch them and he can't do a thing.
It is kind of crazy. They weren't here when we first moved in. There were
No,
not.
no,
That's
an
we're not in a
irresponsible owner, yeah.
secured subdivision. At one point, the subdivision was
It was,
secured,
it's gated. The gates are still there.
but they don't secure them anymore, and there's
Right.
not anybody here. But it is one of those you get what you pay for. But on the other hand, the rent is just right for 2-bedroom, 2-bath. This isn't the worst subdivision. Some people would think it is, but I'm good with it right now. But eventually, I'm going to want peace and quiet closer to the hospitals, or I'm going to want where I can just lose my mind, have my dementia, and grab a chicken when I want to.
Okay,
That didn't sound.
that didn't sound right, but okay.
I'm going to stroke that chicken.
Like a spot says, double the pleasure, double the price.
Yes.
Earn Doggy Full says Dookie Trouser. There you go.
like
Doogie Howser.
Yeah, Doogie Howser,
Yeah,
Doogie
Doogie
Trouser.
Howser,
Yeah.
Doogie Trouser.
Hey, chosen one is in the house. I was going to say Mr. Hershey is in the house. Smooth operator. No need
Hey,
to
chosen one, how you
ask,
doing,
how
man?
smooth
Yeah, actually, here's
operator.
chosen one. Chosen one is somewhat like of an expert when it comes to
Yeah, what do you really think,
like
chosen one?
Thailand and the Philippines because does travel a lot. He goes to Thailand and Philippines. He frequents both places. He goes to Brazil. He goes to Guatemala. He goes everywhere he wants to go.
Mm.
So, meaning he goes to the airport a lot. I'm pretty sure he doesn't crap his
What do you
pants.
what do you think? What do you think, chosen one? What do you think's the deal? Do you think he got some sort of privilege, and do you think if he was from any other country, because they knew when he entered. I think he never left the airport because the story goes around that it's like terminal, like he never even left. He just decided to stay there, and that's what he told him was that it was too much. Or maybe, well, why would he? Does Thailand require you to stay out longer than the Philippines? Usually, you would want to stay out a day or two when it comes to leaving the Philippines, but I'm wondering what that is.
Well, actually, the real question
Hey, Geechee, what's going on,
is does
Geechee?
anybody know if he pulls the same stunt in Thailand, what would happen to him?
I didn't even check the Thai newspapers. It's usually I dig a little deeper,
Well, he
and
just left, so he hasn't happened yet.
well, maybe, yeah, but maybe he's been going from. That's what I'm saying. He could have done that before he came
No, it's
there.
possible.
So that's what
Yes.
I mean. I didn't dig that deep. I've had zero
I
energy.
mean,
I went to low carb, guys. A lot of you guys knew that. I posted photos this morning of our breakfast. We had the peaches, and I made ricotta,
it's really good,
and
guys.
we had eggs and little pieces of steak
Yeah,
in it.
Heidi makes cheese. I make my own cheese too.
How do you think I got my yeast starter?
There you go. Now, what I'm getting at is here the airport staff cleaned him up. I don't know if they're gonna do the same thing in Thailand. That's what I was getting at. It's like,
Just gotta put him in there and lead him on with a bamboo stick, man.
you know,
I don't
we
know.
don't know. Hopefully.
I got an idea. He
Okay.
can go to Mexico. You said,
Oh no, they're
you
not gonna.
said,
No,
listen,
no, no,
you
no.
said this
He
morning,
did. If he does that in Mexico, they're just gonna kick him out,
did somebody
send
mention
him
a
back,
finger?
whatever.
You said that he could get a job as a dirty Sanchez.
There you go. He's a professional dirty Sanchezer. Yeah. No, no. He can't. He can't get away with that in Mexico for sure. That's not even a question. Um, Bobby G says, for me, I absolutely love it there, but I'm a pretty isolated person. Like, I
Thank you,
love
chosen one,
being
if I didn't
in
say it.
the province. I don't need tons of friends. I hate drivers. They bump into you and just look at you and drive off. Pretty much.
That's like I get you on that. And for me, with my autoimmune issue, I was just thinking about this again this morning. And it's like every time I go out, I get sick. I'd be in the house inside the United States. So I don't know what damn subdivision I'm in until I don't get my trash picked up or until things get loud. By the way, basketball season started or something. They've been having games again. And they use a horn for every time somebody does a shot. They're using a
Well,
car
yeah.
horn sound, or they're using an actual car. My guess is that they've probably got a car nearby.
It really sounds like a car. It really does.
And but see, now this year, this is like the third season that I've been here. Now it's like I don't hear the karaokeing at the bar up the road, and I don't hear that barely. So I'm getting used to it. But there are days where it's too much, like the dog's barking. I can hear all the items at once. I become more sensitive. It's kind of like I'm mentioning old dog because old dog's going through a bunch of things, but I believe he's always been going through these things. But when you have added items like his house situation, the medical surgeries, it just kind of, but
So
see, mine ends with the trash guy and the loud noise and the chickens outside and the extra cats that are outside and going to the mall and then NBI not being able to do the paperwork. And then I'm done. I'm cooked. But back to my autoimmune issue, I just always stay in the house. So I don't have to deal with too much. But,
So let me tell you something. I really shouldn't talk about this because it's really not our thing. But this morning there was this kid, right, and he was scavenging, and
oh
the
no.
dog was barking like crazy, right? And so we looked outside. It was a kid scavenging and everything, and we kind of felt that.
Um,
So what?
you, 1 second. Um, real quick.
Yeah, no. There's just some,
We had a kid out
But
here.
anyway, again, like I said earlier today, or in this live, I said I dealt with a person. He spoke Tagalog, but he didn't really talk because, again, he looked at me on a higher esteem because he's a scavenger, so he didn't want to, But anyway, so we felt bad, but I felt kind of naughty, and I told Heidi, I said, I'm gonna give him this. So I pulled out one peso coin.
Well, because he helped us with some of our trash issue.
Yeah. So I gave him I had a 1 peso coin and we had 200 pesos. Now 200 pesos isn't a lot to an expat, but to scavengers that's their day. No, really.
500-600
Yeah,
would be
Gusty
decent
makes
as a try.
average 250 pesos the whole day. So
Right.
that tells you how much 200 pesos is.
Right.
So anyway, so I told him, I said, hey, he didn't want to give me his name again. It's not that he spoke Tagalog, but he was really shy. So I said, okay, put out your palm, and he did. He put out his palm, right? And I said, this is for you, and I gave him a 1 peso coin.
You made that boy mad.
When I did that, he went, eh.
He did. Yeah, because he helped me clean up and get the trash ready. And I said, well, just give him a few hundred, which usually we wouldn't do.
Well,
But he was a nice kid.
no, he
and
was a nice
was
kid,
messing with
and
him.
I gave him the 200.
That's what I was muting
and
to
I
tell
said
him.
I was
We didn't want
just
to give his name.
kidding, just kidding, and then, but you should have seen his face. He went, eh. But anyway,
And here's another thing. I want to let you guys know, if I haven't said this before, yeah, I've complained and bitched about a lot of stuff. A lot of things have happened. I would still move here. And I know my experience will not be your experience, and different areas it's going to change. If I would give up a bunch of stuff and extra spending in my pets, we could go live in Clark and pay a high end rent. Not super high end because I don't think it's worth it, but we pick and choose where we want to live based on what makes us comfortable. So the issues I'm dealing with, yes, are on me. Thanks for everybody's advice to say, oh, we'll go live somewhere else. And we want to live here. And we're living among the people like a lot of expats do. But I mean, in the end, everybody's experience is going to be different. Like people going to Manila and people living in BGC and Makati. If you guys just go outright to BGC, you could probably live on several thousand US and be very, very comfortable. It doesn't mean it's going to buy you happiness. It doesn't mean that where you hear, hey, you're going to live like a king if you have 4 or 5,000 a month. It doesn't fix everything, and technically, you really aren't. I mean, you're just going to live better than you are in your own country. But every experience in every area. No, I have not lived in Cebu. No, I have not lived in Mindanao. But I know there are things you may not want to do, and these aren't even exaggerated things. Take everything with a grain of salt, do your due diligence, come here, search, visit, and get to know the places. And I know Chosen One, I keep thinking about how much he's been around and he knows about traveling. And some people have never traveled at all. And you may not be able to handle the heat and you're going to deal with the paperwork and the bureaucracy and the language barriers and issues and closing time and out of stock. Old dog mentioned out of stock again. He's like, man, and then out of stock. And he kind of just went through the list. I was like, yes, the exact list that I fretted over for years. And long term, you'll get over that stuff. It'll be stuff that'll just fade away. And George just like, just another day.
well, most of the out of stock thing is it's a because of a Ningaskugon mentality.
I thought you were gonna say Ningnam poop mentality. Ningnam poop.
Usually, it's very common in restaurants. You go to a restaurant and I would say they're out of dishes. I would say 60% of them don't exist. And the reason being is because they're so excited on opening up the restaurant, they think they can manage and keep in stock all of these menu items. And then eventually, when the business is running, they can't maintain it. You know what I'm saying? So they say, oh, we don't have that. Oh, we don't have that. Oh, we don't have that. Earn Doggy Fool says, yeah, something fell through. Look at the floor. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Somebody get a coffee filter.
Right?
Hey, I got an idea. I got an idea to make some money. I seen this on Little House on the Prairie. So this can't be any stupider than Laura Ingalls that caught the raccoon, and she said that she was going to have that raccoon have babies, and she was going to sell a baby to each one of the kids at school, even Nellie. Okay, and I was like, okay, that was a stupid idea, but it sounded good. And except for one thing, the raccoon's a boy, right? I got an idea. What if I entice the man and I do a thing and I bring the old guy back to the airport, right? I'm going to, here I am in the Philippines. I'll just omit that I'm an American and I get him to come back and say I'm going to date him and blah blah blah. And so I catfish him in, right? Catfishing is the word. I won't say scam. Catfish him back. When he gets here, I'm going to feed him coffee beans. I'm going to feed him coffee beans, right? And then I'm going to sell the coffee, like those copa luau, the coffee that where the what is it that poops them out? There's some animal that defecates them, and then they sell the coffee. But I'm going to do it with the old
You're talking about
American.
camels?
No, it's not camels. I believe it's
The monkeys?
No, you don't know what copa luau is?
No, it's been a while.
It's it could be monkeys. What is it, guys? Who actually defecates the beans?
Yeah.
But anyways, it's the most expensive coffee in the world. So I figured I could just feed the beans to the American guy, and I could just follow him around the airport and then sell it at a 4,000 pesos, a half pound or something, to other unsuspecting expats as the Americano Louis Lau or whatever.
No, and dementia is a serious thing. I mean, like the other month, last month, they had another gentleman
It's
that
cats, I think it's cats, isn't it?
that was lost, and he doesn't know who he is, where he is, and the barangay was looking for, the kids. I told Heidi, I said, Heidi, you can just claim him, and have him build you a nipa and tell him you're his daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Actually, it says it's from here, defecated by the Asian. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Black Grandpa says maybe you got catfish. No country or business establishment wants poor people. They want people willing to spend cash and lots of it. Yes. Scotty Eiser's World says Groundhog Day. What Scotty's saying is it's like Groundhog Day, where every day starts all over because he doesn't remember squat, and he has to live everything the same thing over and over again. Nevermind says he looks so frail. How is he allowed to travel? Well, as long as he can, as long as he seems okay. That's the key word. If you seem okay, they'll let you travel. I mean, you can be like dying, but if you walk like like you're nothing wrong with you, they're gonna leave you alone for the most part.
Yeah, and especially being there's so many older expats that are coming here that are up there in age, they just didn't mess with them.
Now
I don't think he ever left.
This is a little wrong. Scott says, "I'm going to shave my head and blend in."
I was going to shave my head a few days ago
Too
and
many
just deal
crickets.
with it, but
That ain't right. That ain't right. Now, what Scott's saying, if you arrive here, there's a lot of expats that shave their head, and that's what he's getting at.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to do it because I didn't want to deal with my hair.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's really a common thing.
Mm.
I mean, of course. I mean, if you're balding, what are you gonna do? Well, might as well just shave it all off, right?
Halakaspad said Kopi Luau, the airport brew, the Americano.
Right. There you go.
I'm just gonna catfish him back literally and feed him the coffee berries or whatever, and just go around and actually I'll just pay somebody to follow him around. I'm not gonna do it. And then I'm gonna sell it back to the airport.
Jesus Christ. Now, Angela, now dementia is a serious thing. I mean, all jokes aside, my dad had dementia at 72. Now in retirement home at 84. Wandered off, lost in home. They find that he was mad. All part of the yeah. No, they're very irritable.
With my lupus, I deal with like a lot of crankiness on different levels, but there are times, Georgia knows it, that I do forget things. I forget that I tell him things. And it's not at that level, no comparison to it, but there are stages. And then I get angry at him when he says no, he goes, I already said that. I said, no, you didn't tell me. And it's because I'm not remembering a lot of things. And there's frustration. And in watching that video, I seen a woman also, they want to go places. That's why you always find they disappear out of the house. They don't know how to return. Like, so one woman wanted to go back. She thought she was going home, like as a kid. Like, she thought she was like 16, 17. And she says, well, I'm just going to walk back to Tennessee. And she goes, Mom, you can't walk back to Tennessee. Come back in the house. And it's like they forget that they can't go places. Some of them will get in cars and just take off in the night. They don't remember. Once they're out of those few minutes, they don't know where they're at. They're lost.
Well, that's what
And
silver alerts are for.
yeah,
No, I mean I'm not joking. That's what silver alerts are.
no.
Yeah, it means
So it really requires full-time care at
yeah,
that point.
an older person straight away. Yeah.
Are
But
you prepared for that, or are you just going to tie me to a chair?
what's your name? I don't know this woman.
We're just, you know what? If you guys see an old couple, okay, like a really old couple that are both, you know how they got those little rubber the bands, and they got the little wristbands that you put on kids so you don't lose them in the mall. We're both going to be tethered to each other in the
That
mall.
leash?
Yes, we'll both leash each other so we don't lose each other at the mall. I don't know who's going to watch us in the mall. And somebody just feed us coffee beans every now.
Right. Bobby G says, yeah, it's crazy. After a couple years, you can zone out the noise. It's like living next to a train station, and you
Mhm.
realize you don't hear them anymore. My father-in-law is the loudest thing near our house.
Aw, yeah, no, that's what I'm getting used to it, George. It doesn't bother him all the time. Now, the games will get loud because upstairs we have like a balcony in the door. And so if that's open, it disturbs his work, his gaming, or whatever. And it could be a problem. But when we have the house totally opened up and there's no AC on, it could be really loud. But besides that, yeah.
Axicorp says, how about moving to Bulacan, somewhere near, but not very near the new international airport being developed? There's nice and affordable subdivisions in Bulacan. Just make sure that it's flood free. Well, Bulacan, it's really hard. Well,
The flooding would be
yeah,
issue.
flooding. Yeah, depending on where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bulacan and Manila, there are flooding does occur on average. It goes up to knee high, not ankle high, knee high.
yeah.
So be careful. One of your signs that an area floods, pay attention to most of the houses. If most of the houses are about a knee off the ground, like they have steps on average, if you look around, you'll notice a trend. A lot of them are built higher.
Mm-hmm.
That means they get flooded.
Yeah, we'll stick to Clark or further out.
Yeah.
Where that Chinese woman pretended to be Filipino. We'll move over there.
Tarlac.
Yeah, just call it Tic Tac over there.
Right. Scott in the world, Isaac's world says that cat. Askpart says civet cat.
Oh, civet cat.
Christopher
Okay,
Fulton
just
says
cat.
that would be a civet cat.
Gotcha.
Heidi.
Yeah.
Like a spot says civet poop latte.
Don't forget the Americano civet poop latte.
Christopher says elderly foreigner coffee beans.
Yeah, that way he's full all the time and he won't ask for food or anything.
Right.
And he'll have energy too, possibly.
Right. Like a spot copy Luwak Airport brew. Poop. There it is. Poop. There it is. There you go. Scott Nizer, he's got a point. Maybe he's, making his own coffee. He's trying to store his coffee beans in his pants.
Maybe he started with baked beans.
Or he could be recycling, corn. Because, the best thing about corn, you eat it,
maybe
and then you poop it out and eat it again.
Maybe he's his own human centipede.
Could be.
Maybe he's got a tube.
Yeah, the thing about
portable human centipede.
The thing about human centipede is when
Can't watch it once.
When Thanos did his snap and got rid of half the population. So does that mean half of the human centipede disappeared too as well? Deep thoughts, guys. Deep thoughts.
Oh, you're talking about because they were already attached together. And
and when he snapped his fingers,
there went their food supply.
Well, exactly. Then half of the centipede is gone.
All right, so we're kind of running out of conversation here. So basically, in a nutshell, make your plans. I got another conversation I'm going to add to this today, to carry this on today. And me and George was talking about this. I'm going to discuss the DNA thing and the Australian plan, which, like you said, is a bunch of crap. But we'll get into that about that. But basically, the Filipinos are very generous, but don't push them. And I think because he was a foreigner, that they let him stay. They probably really should have done something sooner. Uh, should old people be given a break all the time? It's kind of like when the young people get a super break and the old people get a break and all that, and then they keep doing it over and over again or breaking things. Who's to say? I mean, do you feel that the elderly should get a break?
Well, I was gonna say in the Philippine
Some of them get,
culture, the elderly, yes.
even if they're evil and they're cutting you off in line and cussing you out and giving you the middle finger and
Well,
and
no, there are exceptions. What I'm
having
saying is
sex with
they're
your 18-year-old
more
daughter.
the culture again caters to the elderly. Yeah. However, if you're an asshole about it, of course they're gonna ignore you.
Or if he's dating your 18-year-old daughter, if that old man was coming over here to do that.
Well, that's very. I mean, what I'm saying is there has to be contact. You
Yeah.
can't just say that and then
Okay,
make a
I'm just giving you an
judgment
idea. I'm
call.
talking about everybody. I'm talking about, and we know these older guys are older than that come over here for super young girls. That's all I'm saying is there's a whole spawn of things that could be going on. But just in general, make your plans and everything. Don't be caught at the airport. May not happen again. Kind of unusual, and brings us around to the second story that I seen that came up after this. And I was telling George about this morning, and it still baffles my mind, is that we were talking about the Angeles City walking street, and they're talking about the bar girl industry. They said there's tens of thousands of expat kids here. I didn't even I thought maybe a couple hundred, but I didn't realize. How many do you think are here?
Don't know.
But it is possible when they say tens of thousands, probably over the years.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, immigrants are not a new thing.
Right. So there's a lot of expat kids here that aren't getting any support or anything else. And I have my feelings, and I want to hear what you guys' feelings are about the children that are left behind in this situation. And supposedly an Australian company is going to come through and DNA the kids and find their dads and make them pay back child support. So what do you think about them, getting these guys to pay back? And then I'm like, I don't know. It looks like they were two willing participants. Is it, shouldn't there have been something to begin with to avoid it? Could it have been the girl trying to trap him? Could it be the guy running out? I got a mixed feeling on that. So I'm curious how you feel about that.
I think it's a stunt.
You think it well, and why? And what's the reason you feel it is? But I mean, because there is no DNA database.
Well, I think it's well. There's a lot of reasons, but I'm saying it's a stunt to promote their company.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
I mean, I really don't think they're serious about it because in order for an identification to succeed, you must have like you said, a database.
And the only way they do that is if
I mean, how many of you have entered your DNA to anything?
Well, there's a lot of people that are doing those DNA things now. That could be the one way that they do it. There's a lot of people
I understand that,
tests
but
that are out there
most
now.
of those people, it's kind of like there's that old saying, when you stop, if you ban guns, again, this has nothing to do with I'm pro or anti. What I'm saying is, if you ban guns, you're just making the people who follow the law stop using them. Same thing with DNA. You're basically, if you're gonna have a DNA database, odds are
that are going to trap guys for child support.
the ones that do that kind of thing that abandon kids are not gonna go to a DNA and submit their DNA willingly. It's one of those things.
A lot of guys don't know they do. A lot of them just come here for fun for one night and then didn't realize it.
So it's kind of like
So that's
what I mean. I think it's a stunt to get their name out because honestly, it's not gonna work.
That was a whole article in Australia, so
No,
they
I
ended up in the
understand.
news here.
Or unless again that person that's spreading their seeds, as it were, is a criminal, because there are some a keyword some certain law enforcement offices that take your DNA when they book you, and that's a very small percentage, even at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it has to be.
So it's kind of like
It would have to be a certain
right.
crime or whatever. Let me see.
No, the
It
DNA.
said the abandoned Filipino children of the walking workers are using a DNA to find their fathers. An Australian charity company is the one doing it. So they're just putting it out for
Right, but
is using
so
DNA to
now
track down fathers of the children that have been abandoned by sex tourists in Angel City. They're not mentioning them anywhere else. Now,
yeah.
I want to let you guys know that's another freaking thing. Angel City isn't the only place. Manila's got a big booming area, just as
Oh
big,
yeah, of course.
and the same with Cebu.
Every
So,
area has one.
right. So why do they always bring it down to? I mean, just because Walking Street and the military bases at one point were nearby is why
Yeah.
it became famous. But I want to let you
Well,
know,
it's like a
I didn't realize
Longapo.
that either. And the Longapo, yeah, down there in Subic. So they exist everywhere. So it's funny though. I feel it's funny how they just nail Angel City as the
Well,
town
now
of hookers
now
because they're in all
to make
areas.
it worse, again, it's a charity, which makes it worse. And what I'm saying makes it worse is that screams give us donation,
Yeah, offering, yeah.
because
But do any
it's
of
not
those
a
even look like?
it's not, well, I mean, what they look like, it doesn't mean really anything,
Well,
but
I'm asking you because when I look, I don't see it. You're Filipino. I don't know if your eyes are any different.
no, it doesn't look like Filipino
They look
kids.
like Filipino kids to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not losing my
But what I'm
mind.
saying is, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but usually most expat kids do have expat features. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So that screams like donate. That
Yeah, they're
doesn't
just
make
saying
sense.
there's a lot of them, tens of thousands. It said most of them. They live in squalor. They pick trash and threw things for food and scrap every day, and they go through and they're saying how bad it is. But there's a lot of Filipinos out there that are, scrimping and scraping and doing all of this. And you would think there are some that have multiple children. You would think, I mean, I can think of somebody
Well, the
nearby.
problem with expat kids, I'm more talking about the abandoned expat kids. I'm not talking about the ones that expats are with them. Um, it's kind of like a catch 22. Here's the thing: expat kids, if the expat's not there in the family, aka single parent, single mom with the expat kid, that's bad. That's very bad, because he will get picked on for the rest of his life. Why? Now, the only exception is, what I'm saying is, if you're an expat kid, you have to have money to back you up. If you don't have money to back you up, you are a target of ridicule.
Yeah. So, in other words, if they're being sent support and there's someone in the background, then it's like you're getting support from your American dad.
Yeah,
If you were
it's
just
one of
dumped, you're
those.
being made fun of as
Right,
that.
you're exactly like,
Even if they know
that's what I'm
you're a
saying.
bar girl either way, they're saying
They'll
if
be
they're
like, yeah, he left you. Kids are mean. Kids are mean. There's
doesn't change no matter where you're at. We
doesn't matter
said
where
that.
you're at. Kids are mean. Right.
We said that
So that's
shit
what I mean.
happens there.
If you're an expat kid, you have to have the money to back it up. Because if you don't, you are a target of ridicule. But it's one of those catch 22 things.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, it's really bad. It's kids are mean. Period. They don't care. They really don't care.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Never mind says yes. Sounds like a stunt.
You already.
No, I haven't done the hellos.
Okay.
I'm going with the ones that are related to the subject
Gotcha.
the whole time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
LG says if Amar goes through 3 different bar girls daily on his bar fines, and one of the prostitutes gets pregnant, I feel the customers aren't responsible.
I'm on the fence as a woman. I mean, and this is going to sound cruel. If you guys are in a long-term relationship and she ends up and then you guys know, then I think so. Like
She's
even if you don't
responsible
even live
too.
together. Right. But if me and you were just dating and living in separate places for a year and then I got pregnant, I would expect something.
Oh,
I'm not,
well, that's different. That's different.
that's what I'm saying.
There's a
But
relationship. But
when
if
it
it's
comes to her,
if it's
that's
professional,
hate
oh
to
yeah,
say it.
that's
It's
all really on her.
if she is that and does the bar fine thing and does all that extra and it's part of a hazard, kind of like if you work in a chemical factory and your skin breaks out till the
Yeah,
day
if
you
you don't wear
die,
gloves, I mean,
I can't go back on the company not normally and say,
yeah,
hey, it's what I knew. Or if I was working with blue dye my entire life, doing jeans and my fingers were blue to the day I die. I know it's kind of
that's
odd.
on
Just think
you.
it is. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of odd
yeah,
to
it's
say it like
literally the
that,
same
but
thing because you didn't wear rubber.
that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I was saying this morning is something in me as an older person now and with experience says, yeah, you can't just hunt a guy down for money all of a sudden.
And how do you
You're
know it's
not
him?
married, right? Correct. So then down to hunting him and
You don't
getting
know
the
it's him.
DNA. Well, they're saying DNA. Let's say they can find the DNA. I don't think
Well,
it's right either. It was
how are you
supposed
going
to
to track
be,
these people down in the first place?
honestly, it would be my responsibility to prevent pregnancy.
No, it would
As
be because as a
a
professional, yes.
as a matter of fact, if that's going to be their professional life, then I hate to say it, they ought to fix them too. They ought to fix these girls in advance.
Technically, that's. I mean, you can't obviously do that, but I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of
No,
yeah.
it's not feasible. It's not.
Like
It's
the
not
pedo
realistic.
castration. I'm all for that. They shouldn't even let them out of jail. The ones they tend to talk about it, I think they should. And so that's where I'm at. And it may offend some people, and I really don't give a shit. So if you're gonna get offended on at our channel, move on, especially the trolls. So
Well,
but she should have they should have done something to begin with. It just should have been, and I'm not talking about getting rid of them after the fact. I'm talking it would just be your deal for not dealing with it. If my fingers are blue, then it's what I have to, deal with. I should have put at least Vaseline on my fingers or gloves on beforehand. If I skipped that because I was lazy, or in another manner, if the girl was trying to trap, which that turns out to be most of the time is trapping, then sorry. Sorry. It would be up to the individual father to have a heart. Like me, hard to refuse them kittens that are now officially living outside again. The kittens are now living outside because they're now moving around and everything. And she's just going to get pregnant again. And we can't keep them inside. We can't fix them all. We
can't
can't
save them
worm them
all.
all. Right. So it's the same with these girls. You can't save all the kids. You can't. People get here and they
We're
want to
just
save
giving
the
them a fighting
kids.
chance.
Yeah, fighting chance. And so
I mean, they're still living with us. I mean, they're still out there. They're
the
still
mother
being
put the child in that
fed.
position at that time.
They still have
Oh
shelter.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
checked on. Yeah, they're in
yeah.
a sheltered
They're
cage.
actually covered up right now.
Yeah.
But no, they have shelter.
So that's where I'm at on that. So it's but so yeah, when I heard they're going to hunt the dads now, could you imagine being some business guy and all of a sudden with a full family, which a lot of these guys do. A lot of these guys, that's why they got really upset over the
Well, that's
cameras over
another
the
thing.
years.
If you have to remember, they can't really just do that. These are potential lawsuits waiting to happen.
Well, yeah, because in every state and every country is going to be different on how they push child support. So I get they deserve it. I get that, but she should have she should have put some saran wrap on something.
Well, if she's a professional, then yes, of course.
And what's the deal? They do have the pill here, but they don't push it, correct?
Well, it's not our culture.
The X ed doesn't exist here right now, right? They don't put it in class or anything.
No.
They don't, yeah, they don't at all. And I get that. But there's a lot of countries that are, but still have it. There's still, she should be doing something, man. And why aren't the bars or the girls taking that
Well, okay.
opportunity?
Now,
And why aren't they using some of that U.S. government
first
fund
off,
stuff? Why aren't they using some of that government funds that they're cutting off for for U.S. aid or something instead of using it at the LGBTQ factories they got going on and all these other things. They should have put it into birth control factories.
You guys ever play Russian? Well, not Russian roulette, just roulette. You know, or you guys
Yes.
ever gambled? What I'm getting at is you have to remember that some of these girls gamble with their kitty.
Oh, snap, Anton.
What I'm saying is
Yeah, that's another
you
gamble.
have to remember that
Yes, HIV is high
what's
here.
the probability of a woman, okay, a Filipino, specifically in this situation, to get pregnant, and then the guy is a good guy. The odds are actually higher than you guys realize. I would say probably 60% are good guys.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is there's a 60% chance that the guy will always give her child support regardless of any situation.
If she would just ask.
Well, some guys, again, a lot of guys are actually good people. I mean, first off, a foreigner that flies to the Philippines and flies in and out isn't necessarily they're usually above average. You know what I'm saying? Most people I know in the US never even left their freaking city. I mean, dude, get out of your city. But anyway, my point being is most of these people have somewhat of a means to fly in and out on a regular basis and therefore has enough money to at least send support.
Right, and it's better to ask for it before to destroy the family he has back in the U.S.
Well, like I said, most of them, because I hate to say this, I know Filipinos that do this for a living.
I can think of one pretty close.
That's what I'm
It
saying.
happens. Here.
Now, there's the other gamble where they get pregnant and then the guy's not a good guy and not provide support, and that's the bad gamble.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying? One scammer here in Davao has 3 kids with 3 different foreigners, and she gets 100K amount. How do I know she's my right? See, there you go.
Right. So we were
Exactly.
discussing this because
Exactly.
I
No,
know
this is the
somebody.
thing. Yes.
I know somebody else that lives in our other neighborhood and has 4 kids. And I was like, how is she buying things all the time? How is she ordering fast food every day? And
No, this is the thing.
and George says she told me that they're all different foreign daddies to each
Right.
one of her kids.
A different baby daddy for all foreigners.
And she wasn't a bar girl, by the way. She just dated him and happened that many of them dated her and she ended up with it. And I'm like, dang, man. So
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. And this a way, or let's say she's not that extreme. She could be just using the kid as an entrapment tool.
oh snap.
You know,
Anton,
to
you make
fish.
a good you make a good point. Before the Australian fathers, they should be worrying about Filipinos who abandon their girlfriends and stuff. Yes, which is true. There's just as many, a lot of those kids out there that are living in what I call barrios or living over by Abacan Bridge and living out there in these boxes and settlements. There's a lot of Filipino dads that aren't around.
Well, you have to also remember too that there's you guys ever heard of this thing called one night stand? One night stands do exist in Filipino.
Yeah.
Filipino one night stands. It exists. So yeah.
Boy, you say that with conviction. I've already slapped your face right through your glass.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about
Yeah, but it's the way you said that, like you're like one night stands there, babe.
actually no, I'm not. I've never been a one night stand man. I mean, shoot. I mean, I go out and dance with women on a regular basis. I mean, what I'm saying is, I'm not into one night stands. One night stand people are missing something. They're lacking something.
We're taking sticker money for me to slap George's face through his glasses. That's
What I'm saying is, they have a need to do that to compensate.
what is,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
But
having a
anyway,
hard time with my hair. Look. I'm trying to get my mullet together here. I mean, I've been I am the only American female expat doing live streams that has a mullet.
like a spot says, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. There you go, 100K a month, like a good neighbor. Patricia says,
hey, you know what? We could gather all those kids up, the tens of thousands of them here. We can feed them coffee beans and run them all over the airport. Let them poop everywhere.
right?
Grow that, grow that bean farm.
Yeah, you can. Oh,
Why
that's
buy
another
cats?
thing. That's
Why get
another
the
thing.
cats?
Some women, again, I'm not making this up, they
Yeah.
do have kids to use them for labor. Correct.
Oh, dang.
And that is why it is very hard to adopt a kid here
It is. No, because
because
they will
he
adopt them and use them and
correct and use them for labor.
now they did do that back in the old days, like a long time ago,
Well,
80,
yeah, of
90,
course,
100
and
years ago. They
every
used
culture
to
has done it.
use them.
Yes,
They used to take the kids from the orphanages and make them clean the
yes,
chimneys, and
correct.
they made them. Oh, here it comes.
here's your sticker money, Heidi. Hey, don't destroy my glasses. These are my last pair of this kind.
I got you.
No, I don't want those.
I got you.
No, I don't want those. I look like a nerd.
Oh, come on. I got the red and gray ones.
Yeah,
At
thank you
least they're
so
not
much.
tinted.
Never mind.
Thank you.
That
Never mind.
yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you
Um,
so much.
no, they used to send the kids up in the chimneys in the UK
Yeah,
and
chimney
here.
sweeps. Yes.
And then they would take like 4-year old kids and they say, he's just the right size. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
man.
No.
And it's like every time I see where they said they found a kid here, like in the Angel City, Mavalaka area or whatever, I'm like, and George says, no, there's that's my kid, man. And bring him here and make him a
Yeah.
dishwasher. I said, you promised me a dishwasher at Christmas time, man. He says, next time a missing kid comes up, just tell them. But they're real. No, truly, there was a
No,
guy
that's
down in
it's a real thing.
Mindanao.
Yeah.
There was a guy down in Mindanao recently, a Tatai, and they had some dude that was in his 70s. They could not find the family or know nothing.
Yeah.
I said, can I bring him home? George said, like a cat, man. I was like, no. I was like, dang, you're just a dream killer.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Exactly.
dream killer. Da, da,
Yeah.
da,
Ted says
da,
it takes
da.
too much commitment for a one night stand. There you go.
Yeah, because and I hate to say it, if they start finding that out, I bet your business drops in half if they know that's what's really going on. I mean, I guess it's like, I mean, if that happened at a gentleman's club and there were a bunch of girls, first guys should be responsible enough too to make sure they are wearing something. But stuff happens, the girls convince them, they're drunk.
Well, as Lou says, George, we all get what we deserve in the end. What I'm saying is, if they don't wrap up, Lord knows what they've got.
Yeah. And there are a lot of, there's an HIV clinic just up the block. It's right next to
Yeah,
the
it's right
church.
there,
Right next
yeah.
to the church. There is literally one right next to our church up the street. And so that's just where it actually is.
Yes, there's an HIV clinic, correct.
Yeah. And it's just where it is. I don't think a lot of guys have to worry about that, but there are a lot of guys that are coming here for that. A lot of retired military guys and all that. I like to go up there every now and then. And I have to worry about my lady boy every now and then, but I tell her to take the pill. No, too soon. Not a bad idea. She needs
So
more estrogen.
I had a friend like I don't know, I probably shouldn't talk about this story, but anyway,
Yeah,
it's a good story.
Well, go ahead. I want to hear the story. Don't leave no juicy details out.
So I had a friend in the military, and this was a long time ago, and
Spit it out, dude.
and he was like, you know, this happened a couple of years ago. That's what I'm telling you how he says it. This happened a couple of years ago. This was when Clark was still open. Yada yada yada. He was older because I used to hang out with older people. Um, he was stationed at Clark, right? And I had a lot of American friends back then. And he says, you know,
Getting old.
George, well, I was a little kid.
Oh, I'm talking about Mary's right
I
there.
hung out with a lot of older people. And then he says, well, he wasn't old. He was probably he's in his early 20s. I don't know how old he is. I don't care. And he says, "Yo, George, let me let me tell you something, and you better listen." He says, "Man, I tell you what, blowjobs are cheap here in the Philippines." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Yeah, man, I only pay like a couple bucks to get a blowjob. $2, man, for a blowjob, and man, they're good. And then, oh yeah, so
No, I didn't.
how long you been having them? It's a couple years now. And this again, this is Clark. This Clark is right here. And he was like, "Yeah, man. Okay, that sounds good. So you want to tell me where you're getting them? Because that way I can, avail of this deal. $2 a pop. I get a blowjob, right?" He says, "Well, this isn't the place now, but I'll tell you a relatable place. Yeah, man, the blowjobs I get. You want a real good blowjob for $2? It's in
Okay.
between Phillies and Envy, man."
Okay. Well, okay. First off, I didn't know you were going to say those things, and I wouldn't have approved it. I thought you were just
Well,
telling a story.
anyway, you kind of
Go ahead.
well, it's kind of too late now. So he says, "Yeah, it's between Envy and Phillies." Again, I'm just relating to a newer place now because back then it was a different spot. And I was like, "Dude, where did you say?" "Yeah, in between Envy and Phillies, $2 a pop. You get a blowjob." And I'm like, "Bro," I said, "those are guys." He says, "No." I said, Those are guys." He says, "No, you're joking, right?"
You tired.
And I said, "Yeah, man. Yeah, I wouldn't go there if I were you." And again, there's nothing wrong with it if you're into that, but he's not. I already knew he's not that kind of guy. So, long story short, that's that's the deal he was getting.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get her to look down
Oh,
and
yeah.
relax because, see, she does eventually relax where she doesn't have her head up. You say hi? Huh? Say hi? No, I didn't know. I mean, we could have avoided that. I mean, if you want me, I can tell you some real stories. I didn't know we were getting into those stories. I mean, I knew we were getting into a certain topic, but that's for sure.
Why is it
Like
like
somewhere
that?
else. It's not doing it.
No.
There it
The
goes.
pandemic kickstarted remote work and allowed your younger expats to travel to developing countries where cost of living is cheaper than their countries and get paid in foreign currency. There you go.
Hmm. And for sure. By the way, I want to let you know that it was in the paper yesterday, the day before. They're now talking about that visa again for the nomad visas. They're still saying it's on the table. It hasn't been totally approved. And I'm like, dude, you guys mentioned that 2 years ago or something. It's been almost 2 years since we've lived here. They've been talking about it. And I was like, what the heck?
Well, it's the Philippines. What I'm saying is, I don't even look at it unless it's actually exists.
You know how they say in God we trust in America? Um,
Well,
just don't trust.
even in the U.S., up until it's actually done, don't count on it. AKA, for example, a stimulus check. Okay, whether you're pro or anti,
Oh, how's that
right?
stimulus working for you guys?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whether you're pro or anti the stimulus check, point being, until it actually poofs into existence, don't
I
even
got
think it
I
exists.
got a problem with that stimulus thing. First off, it's going to turn everybody into a watchdog to turn everybody in for every single little thing. And they're letting a bunch of people go and employees and government employees, all that've been there long term. Now, I just think there's a lot of weird things going on, but in a manner of dropping a 5,000 check, I don't think it should be limited who gets that check. And you guys will say, "Oh, it's because you're on Social Security." Well, here's the thing. My check does not meet that guideline. I told you guys this the other day of the 25,000 to file taxes right now for me. And so they're saying if you didn't file this year or last year, which I haven't the last 2 years, then they're saying they don't get the check. But here's the thing. They've announced, and Trump has said it, and others have said it. This is years of fraud, years and years and years and years and years. We could be talking 30 years worth of money being taken. And they said that. So why are you going to only pay a taxpayer from this year? You pay taxes all those years. I pay taxes all those years. Why wouldn't our household get one of those checks? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Only this past year's or the previous year's taxpayers will get one. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of POs me off. But I mean, a lot of people say, okay, well, you didn't pay taxes this year, but that doesn't make any sense. They were still misappropriating, stealing, frauding, and everything else for years. Everybody should get a chance that actually,
Yeah.
it's short of what they say, the actual people that are undocumented, then I get that. Or people that have never actually worked. And there are people like that too. I get it. And one per household. But how are you going to take it away when it's been 30 years worth of this or 10 years worth of it? It doesn't make any sense. And all the firing and all the things going on. I mean, I like they're taking action, but why are you after my eyeball? What are you doing? You see her?
Like Grandma says, if George was white, blonde, blue-eyed, male expat, freelancers would be on him like white on rice.
Oh,
well,
snap. They're on him now, man.
that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've been again proposed several times, so I mean, it's no big deal.
No,
But
the girls are on George. George gets the girls. So I'll let you know that
Yeah.
right now. But me, big and older and female, they're still on me. So I think they don't care how their buck is turned, honestly. So
Patricia Flaherty says it's easy for a man to use protection. I'm putting the rest of now. That's what I was saying. It has to be both, though. But what I'm saying is, and again, I'm not talking about.
and she can take a pill. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm not talking
both,
about the
but
relationship ones. I'm talking about the professional ones. If you're a professional
Mhm.
worker, you definitely need to do something on
That's
your
where
end.
I'm at. If you're in a form of relationship and
In a
understanding,
relationship, that's a different story because that's a contextual thing, meaning there's different situations that we're not going to get into,
but for me,
but
that's an
if
absolute
you're
paid one
if you're
night
getting paid to
stand.
spread your legs, you better make sure you do something so you don't get pregnant. That's what I was getting
And
at.
it shouldn't be on the guy,
Yeah.
but he should also beware too. Yes, I get that.
Yeah, no, and I said he has to wear protection too. Yeah.
I was like,
So yes, you're correct.
my weapon of choice.
Patricia says we should bring back some child labor here in the states. Our kids days are slackers.
Right? We were talking about
Right?
that.
No, this
Careful,
is. I don't agree, but obviously this is a joke. But no, yeah, I mean, no, the kids nowadays don't know how to work worth crap. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Lou says regarding one night stands, a bad tree cannot produce good fruit, and a good tree cannot produce bad fruit. Well, let's not get into that. You're talking about nurture versus nature. That's a whole vlog altogether, and it's not has
Yeah,
nothing
see
to do with
how
our channel.
we have to get you another set because your whole area and decor here is dark.
Yeah, I saw.
Fix yourself
What are you
or
talking
you're
about?
fired.
Well, like I said, we should have more light.
Wow, I set up one light and now I'm gonna get it's your dark glasses and the dark hat. I mentioned that on the last
I've
live.
always worn a hat. What are you talking about?
Not every live.
Anyway, I saw Bear says I think I went to a Longapo and now I feel cheap and dirty.
Oh boy.
Ted says you can file even if you don't have a tax liability.
Well, here's the thing. I don't. I mean, there's no reason because here you have to you still like I attempted to do that a few years back and I did and every time I had to pay. And I'm sorry, there's no reason when I don't have to. And so I have not. I mean, I guess I can now, but just for the fact to get the check, it shouldn't have to be that way either. And actually, there's been no reason to up to now. I never even I mean, would you have thought of a reason for us to file when there's no reason? Here we still do because he has a business. So whether he hits there or not, he has to because he's running the business. And with my Social Security disability, it does not meet that, you know.
Well, there's
And he files here, so there I don't file his
I would say
money over, so
half
we don't go
half
over
of
it.
the ones that are Social Security file and half of them don't.
And
It's one of those things, you know.
yeah, my dad did it and he allowed money to come
Yeah.
out, but I couldn't see that either. So that's
Yeah.
just where I was. And a lot of people are in the same boat with me. But this is years and years and years. So now the damn government is coming forward, which I think they look ridiculous in front of the world
Yeah.
by saying, hey, we've been skimming off the top and giving all this money away. Just because he's pointing it out doesn't mean the whole government hasn't defrauded us for years. And did all that and gave money away for no reason and didn't do good business. So okay, you're doing good now, you're adjusting, but you're only going to give checks out to the last two. Actually, they just said this last tax season, and I'm like, what the hell? So I did for a while when we left, but after that, I'm like, there is no reason to. So I won't be in that.
Paul says
So
I'm
it
a
does
citizen
suck.
now. Woo-hoo. I guess I'm getting no, not necessarily. You have to be filing to get a check. You don't have to be a citizen to get that check. You just have to be filing to get that check.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about right now.
They're saying one of the stipulations, they haven't laid it all down, but more and more is coming out, and they're definitely saying you have to pay taxes this year and last year or something. And
yeah, Sniper says,
defiled.
Lou, that doesn't make any sense. What Lou says was, when I was living in Zamboanga City, I will see men that look like George's cousins with hot young Filipino women. Like Grandpa, stop the cap. Now, all Lou was saying is, okay, now this is true. This is very true. And again, I'm not defending anybody. I'm not defending nationality. I'm not defending what Lou says or what Black Grandpa says. But here's the reality. I have seen really ugly guys who have no money with the hottest Filipinas I've ever seen. And it's not because they're expats and it's not because they have money. Point being is, again,
Interesting.
your looks help, but it's not what makes women stay with you. I'm just saying. It's not money and it's not looks. It helps. Money helps. Looks help, but it's not what makes women stay with you. So Ted says you had a bad tax guy, you filed these days for a fraud, you don't owe taxes if you filed out a return.
You wouldn't owe taxes if you filed out a return. Now I'm talking about the fees to pay online or to pay somebody here to do it. So, and I just decided, I believe it was 60 or something to file. So unless you, I don't know, I would have to recheck back into that, but it's been a few years. So I'm to understand it's what, $60-$70 to file online.
Yes.
So
Oh well, how much is it
Depends
not
the
to
tax
file
on-
online, guys? I mean, it's been a
and
while
it's
since
different
we
here. So
filed.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, I don't know. In the US, we used a tax person.
Turbo tax. I mean,
And-
if we didn't, yeah.
And then if you do it online and use software and you file it, it was different. Here, I'm dying to understand it would just be through another one of those companies, and whether we owed or not, we would still have to pay for the service. So I just didn't think it was worth that, and I didn't know it would be considered any sort of problem. So, and actually, I don't think so. It's just another added.
Really? Now it is? CBGB says it's $154 US to
Yeah,
file online
definitely
now.
not. I'm not worried about fraud. Nobody's going to be after us. We're not
Well,
big business people. There's no reason to even lose that each year. That's a month's worth of rent here. I just can't see it.
Ted says filing is free if you use free file from IRS.
Yeah, I'll have to check. So then maybe if I file, being this is this
Well,
year,
if you file this year, you still might get it.
makes sense. I'll check into that later. So yeah.
Mhm.
So because they're not going to do it till next year. They say that's
Correct.
when all the
Then
money.
file.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So we appreciate everybody dropping in, and I'm going to make George
Yeah.
some ham and eggs.
Ted says, I will show you what to do. I'll send you a message. Thank you so much, Ted. I appreciate you
Thanks,
so
Ted.
much, man. You're the best. Lou says, I've used free tax US.
Okay.
Where were these programs when I was there? I mean, seriously.
Well, I will. I just didn't think there was any reason,
I mean,
like I said, till
not
now.
that I now that I think about it, not that I could ever use them because I had a business and I was paying taxes up to wazoo. But I mean, literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we'll just. All right. Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you guys coming in. Thank
Thank you so
you for
much,
the
guys. Thank you so much for
stickers.
your participation. Thank you for your love, chosen one. Thank you for your love, never mind. Thank you so much, Ted. I appreciate you so much, man. I appreciate you also. Scott in Isa's World was with us today. So was Bobby G.
Never mind. Thank you for the
Yeah.
sticker. And thank you, chosen one. Sarah was in the house, Bobby G, and to our members that are in the house.
Yeah. Black Grandpa was with us today. Lou was with us today. Saw Bear was with us today.
Laura
Patricia,
was in the house. Like a spot.
Anton,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Like a Spot. Christopher Fulton was with us today.
Yeah.
Hey, Kay Dallas was with us today. Kay
Ruby was in the
Dallas.
house. Harry
Good seeing
Walsh.
you. George and Heidi. Stay safe, everyone. Harry Walsh. Bye, guys. Love you all.
See you guys. Bye.